Welcome to the next installment of my video blog. So if you saw the last one, it was all about the vital measurements, the changes that happened to me physiologically. And I promised this week I would look at the sort of dietary delights that I have. And I don't want to turn into like the next Jamie Oliver and start publishing books, etc. But I am excited about the adventure that I've been on. And it's not been like I thought this program would be, you know, starvation, lettuce leaves, etc. It's been quite the reverse. So I think before I do that, it would be good just to see where I am in terms of the sort of body measurements and vitals. So I'll just switch to my laptop and take a look at those. So this is the current status. What Graham said to me was that what would happen would be I would start to see a slowing down in terms of weight loss, and that in fact has happened. So you can see I kind of have been hovering around the 94.2 to as low as 93.8. So my weight's been pretty stable, but my waist has been going down a little bit. So maybe there's some conversion into muscle, who knows? But generally the readings have been good. I've still got my visceral fat down to about the 16 level. And my aim is to, over the next week or two, to get it down to 15. But the really positive news is down here. Now, this was my blood pressure, and it's been within tolerance, under 140 and under 90 on the diastolic, on both mornings and afternoons. The reds are where we're getting some sort of AFib warning, which could be due to me knocking the blood pressure meter. I'm not terribly worried about those at this stage, but the 5 megs is the blood pressure medication that I was on, and I took a decision on my own neck to reduce it. Graham was saying, look, you know, you seem to be getting to a point where you might need to reduce that and discuss it with your GP. I've now fallen out with my GP, so I took it on my own neck to reduce it, and it's been holding very, very well. And now my objective is to get off blood pressure medication completely, which the doctor says is impossible. So I love it when people say things are impossible. Generally, very good news on the physiological side, and even better news, I think, on the dietary side, because I've really adapted well to the new sort of foods that I can eat. And these are some of the delights that I've been enjoying. So what I'm going to do is just take you through, if you like, sort of a, I don't know, before and after. So here's a breakfast that I was eating during my benchmarking weeks, and you'd kind of argue what's not to like. I just used to have some toast, a brown bread with the seeds on it, and a bit of butter, a lovely cappuccino, and a tiny bit of orange juice. I knew that's got sugar in it. It's not terribly good for you, but I used to love that, and maybe a boiled egg with that as well. And that was my breakfast. Now the problem with that was the brown bread, and even one slice of that would spike my sugar, and it just converts automatically to sugar, because it's just you know, just sugar molecules bound together with oxygen, and that makes carbohydrates. But brown bread, not good. I had a big reaction every time I had that. This is breakfast today. And you can see a bit of egg, a bit of salmon, avocado, and we're having all sorts of fun different breakfasts. But this one was a particular delight because I've actually had some bread with it, but that's low carb bread, which I bake myself, and is absolutely wonderful. So I can have a little bread, which, you know, it's more of a habit, but, you know, if I want it, I can have it. And that only has per portion about 3 grams of carbs. Normal bread has probably around 60-70% or 70 grams of carbs per portion. So that doesn't touch me at all. This is kind of lunchtime, and really before and after with lunch. A couple of things on this. The one on the left is a typical open sandwich, and it was actually prepared by a top chef who came in. He was a customer from a food company, and he was really proud of his breads because they were gluten-free, they were healthy, etc. But they were bang smack full of carbs. And I had my sugar monitor on at the time. It was during my benchmark period, and sure as eggs is egg, I had indigestion and my sugar went sky high. And that was, you know, healthy bread. On the right hand side is a typical lunch today. It takes me about, I don't know, 3 minutes to make. I use a special kind of grain called twisted, which is absolutely delicious, Mexican flavored. I can put fish, I can put chicken, I can put nuts, whatever I want in there. A bit of salad with a decent dressing that doesn't have seed oil, a bit of yogurt and some fresh fruit, and that fills me up for the rest of the day, no snacking. And that's another version of it. The secret to all this is this wonderful book, because once you start to understand what Graham's doing, you find that there are lots of people dotted around the UK with a similar mission, and this is a really interesting book, and I recommended it back to Graham. He said, yeah, I give that to friends as a special gift every now and again. And it's by a couple of doctors, Giancarlo Caldesi and David Unwin, and they actually, I must have missed it, but they had a BBC Two series, and you know, essentially both were doctors, and in the 70s and that, they hardly saw a diabetic patient. Maybe once every few weeks they'd have a diabetic patient. And then towards the end of their careers, they were seeing lots and lots of diabetic patients. And they came up with the science and the approach, which is pretty much identical to what Graham does. And this book is absolutely fantastic. It's jam-packed with loads and loads of wonderful recipes, and essentially that's where I got my bread baking recipe. It takes 5 minutes to make. It's far quicker than normal bread, and you can I put some walnuts in it. That's before it's cooked. It looks nice even before it's cooked, but essentially, you know, just doing a batch of that will last us a week, just having that as a little treat with some cheese. This is one Sue did from the book, and the white sort of creamy stuff is celeriac dauphinoise. Now, we're all used to potato dauphinoise. This knocks the spots off it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's got more flavour, more texture, and celeriac is a very cheap food. We've got some sweet potatoes there and some nice lamb, and that was one of my evening meals. And every meal is different, and Sue's really into this. And she's now becoming a Michelin star chef, so I get treated every night I go home. If you want to go down to your local hospital, this is what they're serving right now. So, you know, they seem to be heavily sponsored by the big food companies, and you know, sugary drinks, high carbs, left, right and centre, and if the cafe's shut, then you've got this wonderful machine as well, where you can get even more sugar and carbs. And that's actually in the urgent care centre where I was admitted. And that's just the kind of food that I don't eat anymore. I don't need to eat it anymore because I'm sort of enlightened, I guess. So that's it for now. You know, generally just keeping going. Very happy with the program, and as I say, it's one of those where there isn't any pain to get the gain. How's that happen? God knows. Anyway, bye for now.